I'm back. Hopefully, back for longer this time. I don't know what happened, but it just like conked out, and then I popped back in there. So, there I am. Hey, Donna. How's it going? Hey, Jalon. Welcome back. I don't know what happened. My YouTube. Woohoo! From Alabama. And hey, retired and prepping from Tennessee. How's it going? I have Princess here purring. You can probably hear her. See, there she is. Yes. Hey, Missy from San Antonio. How's it going? Yes, Princess is pretty. Hey, Mark. Wow, got 5 of you in here. How's everybody's weekend? We've had a fairly rainy, cloudy, yesterday muggy day. My plans for this weekend got thrown out of the window. Hot as Haiti here, like triple digit week. Wow. Well, we had heat, like humidity yesterday. Like the air was thick. It was only like about 24 degrees, which is like 75 degrees Fahrenheit, but it felt like 100 degrees. I'm like out there, I'm like the air was wet. Thunderstorm. We had thunderstorm on Friday, but we haven't had any thunderstorm. We've had lots of like rain and downpours and then stop and then misting rain, so yes. Oh, in the UK. Yes. Well, I've heard some bad weather. You've had some interesting weather, not just your normal rainy UK weather. So, but we need the rain. You are on the first stage of water restrictions. Ugh. See, yeah. Knock on wood. Where's wood? I'm going to knock on my coffee table here. Here in Canada, which is the west end suburb of Ottawa, we have not had any water restrictions in a long time. We've had some water restrictions a few years ago for watering people's grass and yards and stuff, but not water restrictions inside the house. Um, and we've had fire bans because of it being so dry and not to rain. Antonio. San Antonio. Too many people in San Antonio doesn't help. Ah, yes. Well, here, um, Ottawa. Do we have a billion yet? Hey, Google. What's the population of Ottawa?
Here's a summary from the website worldpopulationreview.com. The census metropolitan area population of Ottawa is estimated at 1.25 million.
Yeah, we only have 1.25 million in all of Ottawa, and that's the nation's capital. San Antonio is the fastest growing U.S. city. Cool. Press play because I know early it's playing right now. Because I have the channel. I hit earlier. Sometimes you might have to hit the press play part. The picture shouldn't be frozen. It was frozen before. Yeah, I've done it before where I thought I was frozen, but I accidentally hit the pause button. Yeah, we're just starting into our summer weather. We went from winter to summer. We've kind of skipped spring. So now the leaves are out on the trees. Lilacs are just in bloom right now. The crabapple blossoms are in bloom, are just ending. So, in Texas. That's only Austin I know of. But I suck. Honestly, I suck at U.S. geography. I know probably a bit more than what you probably know of Canadian geography, but that's because we get a lot of U.S. stations and stuff, and we get to hear all the negative news from the states, like when there's tornadoes or hurricanes or mass shootings or you know all the negative stuff. It always seems to stream up here because our Canadian news is less entertaining or less extreme sometimes. So they talk about on our news channels when there's big things that happen in the States. But I think part of the thing is that like all of Canada has less population than the state of California. Yes, well, that's one reason I'm glad we don't have cable. So all of my news I get from Facebook or from YouTube. Like I had subscribed to, um, like the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Channel, and stuff like that. So I get the news that way. So if I'm on Facebook, if I have friends said, "Oh, have you seen blah blah blah?" I'll search for it. Or it's 2 miles west of Birmingham. Yes, well, Canada, we have healthcare. You will not lose if you actually get sick. Um, you won't actually lose your house paying your medical bills, and you won't have to figure out. And if you are really poor, there are programs available to help pay for your meds and stuff. The only thing is, like meds, you have to pay for yourself. But most people have insurance with their work, which is even though our pay might be um, there's a lot less jobs that have like the big bucks. Like even our like doctors and lawyers and stuff aren't millionaires. You know, they might be 100,000aires, but they're not millionaires. I can't unfreeze the video. Is it frozen on anybody else? I think you just have to like refresh. Mine's not paused. Because if you can hear me, my video is working. Um, and here in Canada, like our healthcare, um, is pretty good. We do have a little bit more wait times, than what you'd have in the States. Um, but it doesn't really, here in Canada, wherever you go, it doesn't matter where you go to get services because, um, they all have the same standards. A doctor that's not going to do great services is not going to be in business for very long, because they're not motivated by money. I mean, yes, they get paid more having a private practice and seeing more patients by the Ontario government if it were because I live in Ontario, or the Quebec government if they live because healthcare is provincial. Um, but and it does kind of sort of matter where you live to your access to, um, hospitals and stuff like that. Like if you lived up north, there are not very many hospitals. I personally am happy with our healthcare. What I think of the U.S. stuff, so just from what I've seen, it scares me. It just scares me that if I lived in the States, I'm not even that unhealthy, but my going to the doctor, wondering about paying for bills, wondering about paying each time I go see the doctor. If I'm sick, I go to the doctor. If I can't make it to my doctor's closed, I go to the walk-in clinic. If I can't make it to the walk-in clinic, I go to, like, if it's really bad, I just walk into Emerge and they see you. You don't have to sign no bills or anything like that. Uninsured. I care for your life and well-being. Please go to the diet. Whatever, James Johnson. That's no overweight, but uh, I have no health conditions. So actually, my doctor says I am perfectly healthy. I do not have high blood pressure. I do not have anything medically wrong with me. So yes, I'm overweight. And it doesn't matter about being on a diet or not. I just have a hard time losing weight. Yes, you hear my cat purring. So you can see her. She's lying down. Look at her. Just purring. Well, the only thing I have pinched nerves in my back. But that's because I'm top heavy, and I've been top heavy even when I was a size 8. So, um, and that's about it. Yes, you can hear noises. Yeah, that's the cat purring. She's just happy. um, but other than that, I have pinched nerves in my wrist and my back, but they're not things that anybody can really, like. There's nothing to be treated for other than I get a prescription for massage. So our insurance pays for massage, or that 80% up to a certain amount, and then they don't. So just it depends on what your insurance where you work. My husband works, so my insurance pays up to I think say $2,000 of massage or physiotherapy, and then for the next $500 they don't pay anything. But then after that they pay 80% until you don't need it. So that way they make sure that you're not just taking it for like recreational massage or whatever, because there's that 500 that in the middle that they're like, okay, we pay for this amount. If you still need it, you could do it on your own, and then we pay for more. Yeah, I'm getting older, 45. Yeah, under your insurance. So not under So you can get, so there's Ontario Healthcare, which is OHIP, Ontario Healthcare Insurance Plan. Insurance massage is not necessarily covered by that. We have like private insurance with wherever you work, but you can't if you are on say um, like what you would call Medicare or whatever. Like if you're on welfare or have jobs that do not have insurance, like if you're working at Arby's or McDonald's and stuff, and you're not working full time and you don't have insurance, you can get this plan called the Trillium plan, and that one is for low income earners. There is a small deductible, and they cover 80% of your drugs, your physio, whatever. And some places they'll pay for it all. So, have to make less than 203. How can you make less than $230 a month? Like how much is your your housing? Like here where I live, a one bedroom apartment not in the projects is like $900. One or two bedroom apartment. Out here in Canada, which is more of a higher end, like we're in the West End suburb, it's more considered a higher end suburb, so the prices are a little bit higher. You can't. There's not too many apartment buildings, but you can get a two bedroom apartment for about $1,000, and a townhouse for $1,200 to $1,400, and you can rent a single home for about $1,600 to $2,000. But you need to have, But then there's also there's co-ops here, which is rent geared to income, which is run through the city, where your housing income is geared to your housing rent is geared to your income. So if you're on welfare, it's geared to so much a percentage of your income. If you're working part time or full time, it's geared to that. And then part of the agreement living in a co-op is you are the like the snow shoveling committee or flower like a um, cleaning up committee, or I don't know, or maybe painting the fences or something like that. I'm not sure. Like, there's a whole bunch of different committees, depending on the co-ops. I get my apartment. That's $1,000 a month. Okay. Well, exactly. I don't know how you can live on $230. Ooh, cool, Jalon. I will check on your channel. Is on your channel or on your sister's? The ducks. I'll check on them later. I'll do the replay. Here in Canada, depending on where you live, so you get like in Ontario, like we have welfare. What's not called welfare. It's called Ontario Works. So if you don't have a job and stuff, you can get money from the government, and a single person gets maybe $700 or so, maybe nine, but I think it's like 700, and like 450 of that is to go towards housing. Well, you can't get a one-bedroom apartment or even a bachelor apartment for that. You can rent a room in someone's home, or there are some places that are like rooming houses where you get like a room and then there's a shared bathroom or shared kitchen facilities and stuff like that. But basically, it's something to like get you off the streets too. Um, if you have a family, you get more. If you have kids, you get more. If you have a disability, the bare minimum for in Ontario is I think 1,000 or 1,200 if you're living on your own. If you are living at home, so for example, um, when my daughter turns 18, because you have to be 18, um, and if she is still living at home, she could apply for disability, and she would get for living at home a few $100s that she can use to pay for her stuff. If she was living on her own, she'd get like $1,200. Oh yeah, and there's a housing shortage. So there's a housing shortage here in Ottawa for affordable housing. There's not a housing shortage for if you can spend money. There's a lot of big houses that you could buy and rent. There's just a shortage of affordable housing that's not in the projects. I mean, yes, we have projects, but our projects are not compared to your projects. Like our projects are still um, habitable. I've seen a few of the projects of like in the news and in where I have friends that they show me like the videos near their places where they live or where they work of the projects where it's like the debilitated housing, and it looks like there's like slumlords. We don't have that up here. We've have a few that have tried to be slumlords up here, but they haven't been successful. Um, and they've been made to pay or to upgrade or whatever. Yeah. Well, same here now. So for example, Canada is like we have a high tech area here in Canada, which is called like we kind of name it Silicon Valley of the North. Like we have all these high tech startups up here, and a lot of internet companies and a lot of manufacturing like internet like cell phone stuff. Like we have BlackBerry up here, and we had Nortel and Corel and all that stuff up here. Um, so there's a lot of these big companies that are owned by in the U.S. or by other countries that have offices here, and they hire people here, so they pay pretty good. Um, Also, we have the Ottawa Senators here, and they play 5 minute drive from my house. So a lot of the senators buy houses in Canada, and there's a lot of Canadians that are, hey, get to the farm. Yep. I don't know what happened with part one. My phone just decided to conk out. I'm like, whatever. So the senators have houses in Canada because it's close to the arena, you know. So they tried to be sort of nice while being insulting. So I was so that was that. Anyways, Um, so there's a lot of people that are willing to, like, they'll make a house, um, custom houses and stuff. We have some big developers, and it's Canada is one of the largest. Like, it's expanding more west into Stittsville, and is that south towards yeah, no, that's north. I'm not trying to think. That's north. We west, east, north, south. So it's expanding out. Um, but what's being built are single family homes or semi attached houses. Yeah, sometime I'll show you around the city. Awesome. Thanks. Get to the farm. I will show you sometimes when we go downtown. So, Canada is the west end of Ottawa. So, Ottawa is Canada's nation's capital. So, we have the Parliament buildings and stuff like that down there. Um, we have it's kind of like a big city, but with a little bit of a small city feel. So, if you've ever gone to a big city, like for here, Toronto is crazy. Toronto's big. Toronto's billions of people. Ottawa has 1.2 million. Okay, and that's all of Ottawa, and it expands like it takes um, from the eastest end of Ottawa to the westest end of Ottawa. It would take you about an hour and a half drive. So it's well spread out, and then we go south, not too south. Three exactly. So this is the thing of between Canada and the U.S. The U.S. you have a lot more people, just physically more people. So whenever there are more people, there's more agitation, more angst, just more like when you have too many people close together, they get cranky. So in Canada, we're all kind of fairly spread out. Toronto is about our most packed city. Like even Montreal, it's fairly packed in some areas, but there's like packed and then space and then packed. Like it has pockets, and that's kind of like how Canada is to Ottawa. Like there's a huge part of green space where there's no building, so there's like landless forestry in the middle of the city, and we have an actual experimental farm smack dab in the middle of our city. Yeah. Um, but California has more people. The state of California has more people than all of Canada. Canada is larger than the states. We have more land mass than the U.S. We have less people. um, we have between us and you guys, we have the longest unarmed border in the world because our border is like huge to you guys because you guys are our friends. you know, you're not our enemies. And the further north you get, and the further west you get. So most population is Ontario, and in Quebec, in Montreal, Quebec City, and then you got a lot in Alberta where the oil fields are, and then you got a lot in BC because BC has the best weather in all of Canada. They tend to have not as worse winters and not as hot summers, and um, they kind of have the same kind of. They have the Rockies and everything like that. And Maritimes has the worst weather, worst winters. Newfoundland had snow yesterday. Yesterday or Friday. 30 centimeters of snow. So, okay, I think I'm back. Am I back? I'm back. There we go. I'm back. I can only stay on for about another 10 minutes or so because I'm getting a ride to pick up my daughter from the airport. So, sorry about that. I don't know. No, it's my channel. I don't know. My YouTube's being weird. And I don't know why, because nobody else is in this household using the internet. So I don't know what the problem is. Oh no, I gotta rub my hands with my face with this hand because I've been petting the cat. I don't want my allergies to go crazy. Um, so what was I saying? All about population. So out in Maritimes, the weather's worse. There's less population there, so you have cities where there's pockets of population, but there's lots of open space. Same with most of Ontario, the major cities. There is pockets of population, but there's like lots of farmland. And the further north you get, the more widespread the land is in the cities, and the cheaper housing is. Like you can live up in Thunder Bay or North Bay and get like a house, rent a house for $1,000. Hello, Middle Eastern letters name. I can Hey Sambaz. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I was just talking about Canada and our population and where it is located. So most of our population is located closest to the border of the U.S. Hello. So that's where you'll find 90% of our population. The further north you get, the worser the weather, the worser um, the land is because we're on the Canadian Shield. So you'll have a couple feet of dirt and then you have like solid rock, um, which is great for like building a house on. But yes, I'm good. I'm just saying I can only stay on till just before 7 because I'm getting picked up to go pick up my daughter from the airport. Well, right now we were just talking about Canada and the population of where it was and how much space we have and how much like we we're a larger landmass than the States, but our whole population of all of Canada is less than California. You please spell. Thanks. Can I spell what properly? For me to spell something properly? Yeah, so we were just chatting and we are talking about, well, healthcare. And yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with healthcare. No problem. We can work with it. The fact that you're trying to uh, the fact that you're trying to spell things in English and it not being your first language, I commend you. Yes, I appreciate you trying your best. Because everybody's welcome here, whether English is your first language or if it's not. Because we all like coffee, right? Or tea. I like my coffee. I'm in Canada. Where I live is Canada, which is the west end suburb of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, which is Canada's capital. If you know anything about hockey, the Ottawa Senators play like 5 minutes away from my house. Nobody usually is angry at Canada. We haven't pissed off too many people. We tend to be kind of peacemakers. But I have about maybe 5 minutes till I get picked up. I don't. Well, the U.S. isn't bad. Just sometimes some people in the U.S. Are very outspoken. Let's say. Yes. We have a lot of immigrants from Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff. So there's a lot of Middle Eastern, like where I live. There's a lot of Middle Eastern restaurants and stuff where you can get your food and the. Okay, Jalon. Well, thank you for popping by and staying on. Yeah, well, and I know that in the Middle East, there's a whole bunch of countries that don't necessarily like each other. As I was just saying, between Canada and the U.S., our borders are like we aren't against each other. That we're friendly borders. While in the Middle East, a lot of the borders are not very. They don't like each other, and it's not always the people from those countries that are bad, but it's the corrupt people from those countries that are bad. You know. So unfortunately. Um, but I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's probably morning where you are because it's nighttime where I am. And my cat just said meow. But I've got to get going. My ride should be here in like 2 minutes. So maybe I'll see you guys in my live stream tomorrow. I'll be live streaming tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So in 14 hours from now, had to do the math. So in 14 hours from now, I'll be live again, and you can grab a coffee and a snack, and we could chat and discuss the different type. Like we could discuss food, because food is always wonderful. And those there, if you're in here, if you're from those countries and you are Muslim, well, happy Ramadan, because I know that it is Ramadan month for you guys. So have a great day. And food is the equalizer of the world. You're eating tea. Are there ribeye? Of course, there's ribeye steaks in Canada. You go to the steak houses. You're eating tea. So is tea lunchtime? Because we don't have tea per se. In England, they have tea, and I think, or is that supper? Twice baked potatoes, yes. Anything you could find in the States, we have up here. Because pretty much anything. Then we have some unique things too, like poutine. We have Cajun food. You can get there's a couple of Cajun restaurants. Like where I live, there's a couple of Cajun restaurants. No problem. But I've got to get going. I'm hoping to be live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't forget to hit thumbs up before you leave. And don't forget to hit that bell to subscribe and maybe check out my other videos. Have a great day. Bye.